Hello, Ramley and other NFL family. Happy New Year! I thought this would be a fun video to have come out here on New Year's Eve. We're talking about the top 10 Rams wins of the year. And yes, I know they have one more game to play against the Seahawks, but that game does not really have an impact on the division race. So these are ranking the 10 games for the Rams that they won in order to win the NFC West here in 2024. My list factors in entertainment and just enjoy. Did you enjoy watching the game? I'll give a shout out to each my favorite play from each game. I had a lot of fun rewatching the highlights to all these games, so I encourage you, if you need some good Rams therapy, some Ramley therapy, go do that. And so, yeah, let me know your thoughts, comments. I want to hear, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you were to rank the 10 wins, my logic again is kind of impact of the season for the Rams and just overall entertainment value of it. So this is my list. It's very subjective, and I want to hear yours, in the comments below. So starting off at number 10, I think a lot of people would agree with me with this. I have the Rams and the Jets. It was a game in New York in the Meadowlands. The Rams won 19-10, and there's a lot of Jets fans that were happy the Rams won this game. And so, it was one of those things. It was satisfying. The Rams needed to get it done. I know a lot of Ram fans wish they would have won in a more dominant fashion, but it is one of the 2-score wins for the Rams this year. Stats, nothing kind of came, but the Jets kind of hogged the ball this game. Anyway, I put it at number 10. I'm happy the Rams won, as I am for all these games. But if I'm ranking them on this list, I put it in at number 10. And for me, it wasn't hard to put it at number 10. My favorite play of this game had to be, though, the Tyler Higbee touchdown. Big rig, Tyler Higg. He had a brutal injury last year in the playoffs against the Lions. He has worked his tail off to get healthy again. Seeing him come in, make an important catch, to get a touchdown in his first game back. That just you felt the players they were so happy for him. All the fans were happy for him. Big Rig Hig, glad you're back. And that's he the highlight of the game for me, my favorite play. Number 9, Rams Patriots. Again, this was actually a really fun game. Kind of a similar logic to the Jets. It was an East Coast non-NFC team. It was fun seeing Drake May, and seeing the hype for him. I do think he's going to be a good quarterback. Stafford had his 4-touchdown performance in this game, so he was playing really well. Kyron Williams, 86 yards on the ground. Puka Nacua, one of his best games of the year. And there's so much that this game and the next 3, I jogged kind of back and forth. But ultimately, I landed on this one at number 9. It helped get the Rams to 5-5 and back to 500. So it was an important win. And my favorite play of the game was the Stafford to Kupp 69 sexy yard touchdown pass. It was so cool to see that. Again, Stafford had just such a great game, and seeing Cooper Kupp, I know people always love seeing Kupp when he's going on all cylinders. This Rams offense is really hard to stop. So really thankful for that. And putting this game number 9. At number 8, I put the Saints game. And I put this one a little above the Pats, mainly because it is an NFC opponent. And this was none of those games that the Rams, needed to have to get to 6-6, kind of keep pace on it. The stats don't necessarily jump off. Kyron Williams had a really good game this game. And overall, I was entertained by this game, but I put it here at the number 8 spot. And my favorite play of this game, and there actually were some really good ones, but my favorite one was the Jared Verse game-sealing strip sack. And the Saints recovered it, but again, it was 4th down, so it sealed the game for the Rams. And for me, Jared Verse is just such an important player for this current era of the Rams. He's a great, high potential player. He was the first round draft pick for the Rams in the first one in a long time. And so seeing him have, one of those key, signature game sealing, plays like this, that was just really cool to see. But yes, Jared Verse, game stealing sack. That's going to be my most memorable play for me in this game here. Going to game number 7. I'm doing the Rams and the Raiders. Now, at one point, I started this list when I go this video. I listed them off the top of my head, and then I watched all the highlights for all the games and then re-ranked them. This one was number 10 when I started. It moved up significantly, as you can tell. Not that the Rams dominated or anything, but when the Rams were 1-4, this is the win that got them to 2-4 and started that first, 3-game win streak there. The Rams, when they played the Raiders, they were still super banged up. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua did not play in this game. Stafford, as you see, his stat line didn't pop up or anything. Kyron Williams had 2 touchdowns, but they made it work. They found a way to win. But like Tutu Atwell was making plays this game. Tyler Johnson had a really big play this game. If you remember, like he's the leading receiver for the Rams with 4 receptions for 57 yards. And that should tell you, how short-staffed the Rams were. But, ultimately I'll look back at this game as the start of the Rams saving their season. The Rams, you've heard it said, the Rams have been playing playoff football for a while. I think when the Rams wanted to make a go and really try and salvage their season, this was the game that started it all. So really, really, thankful for this win. There was a couple of good plays by the defense in this game. I got to give it to the Cam Curl fumble recovery for a touchdown, though. That play that was the moment I realized, like, oh, this defense, they can generate turnovers. Because, that was kind of in short supply leading up to an extent. And so, yeah, really, really thankful for that play. And I'll give Cam Curl his flowers there. The recovery for the touchdown, big play, helped win this game. Going now, so what number? I was at 7, right? Yeah, 7. 6. So 6 coming up. Okay, I should say this. 6 through 1, I changed these around a lot when I was making this list. Like these games, they altered a lot. And 6, I think I had this one as high as number 2 at one point. But anyway, I dropped it back down here to 6. And it is the 12-6 victory over the 49ers. There were not a single touchdown scored. Joshua Carney, he had a party kicking field goals. Stafford stat line didn't go out. Kyron had over 100 yards rushing on 29 carries. Puka Nacua, 97 yards and 7 receptions. It's cool. This is the game that kind of put the Niners out of the playoff hunt. I know they still mathematically weren't eliminated, but it kind of put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. And yeah, this was just a really big game. It was on a short week for the Rams. And let's be honest, it was so rainy and wet out there. It was hard for either team to really get something going on offense. A defensive struggle, punt fest, whatever you want to call it. But I put it here at number 6, mainly because of the significance of it. This is not a game that you're necessarily going to go rewatch after a bad day at work and have therapy, but I'm thankful that the Rams did it, and ultimately they don't win the NFC West without clinching this game here. So really, really thankful for that. That is the Week 15 win. And there were a couple of defensive plays I could have put in this one. Could have said Joshua Carty. For my favorite play, though, of this game, I'm going to say it was Christian Roseboom. He had a game-sealing sack. It was really the defensive front as a whole collected it, and Roseboom came on a blitz. Love that Chris Shula dialed that up. Roseboom executed it to perfection, especially because Christian Roseboom's been balling out all year. So that's kind of my favorite play from this game. Seal the game, get the win, and move on to the next to Week 16 after this game. Week Okay, so sorry, that was number 6. Number 5, I'm giving to the most recent game, the Rams versus the Cardinals in week 17. And again, I had this one higher, a lot higher at one point. It dropped back down. Just when you watch all the highlights, it kind of makes you reminisce about the whole season. And the reality is, like, we're still talking about it. This was an ugly win. But hey, ugly wins still count, and they're pretty, and I'll take it. And it sealed the NFC West title for the Rams. It was a 13-9 victory. There's some good plays made by it. My favorite play, though, I'm gonna say from this game, is Michael Hoyt's block field goal. It was the block extra point that instead of making it a 3-point game, it was a 4-point game, and that play really helped dictate what the Cardinals did the rest of the game. That ultimately favored the Rams, right? And the Cardinals hogged the ball, this game. They won the time of possession, and that blocked field goal just really helped the Rams out late in this game, and kind of made the Cardinals take some risks that they didn't necessarily want to do, but led to game-sealing interceptions twice. But by Kinchens and Witherspoon. So put the Cardinals here at number 5. Again, this game was a lot higher at one point, but after watching the highlights, that's kind of where I fell with it. All right, number 4. These top 4 games, all of them at one point were number 1. All of them, like I went back and forth and I rearranged these top 4 countless times. So number 4, I'm putting as the Rams versus the Vikings. Again, one of the 2-score wins for the Rams this year. It was on a short week, Thursday night. They went to 3-4 in this game because they had just beaten the Raiders and then played the Vikings, who were 4-2 or 4-1 at the time. And yeah, the Vikings were a team that I think a lot of people were surprised with, but they were saying like, "Oh, this Vikings team's pretty good." And for the Rams to beat them on this short week Thursday night, it was just it was an important win for them. And in the greater scheme, because they sealed the division with the strength of victory tiebreaker, and the Vikings went on to. They haven't lost a game since losing to the Rams. So I think that it was just a huge win for the Rams, very important. That's why it's so high on this here. Stafford had 4 touchdowns in this game. Kyron Williams, 97 rushing yards. Puka Nacua, over 100 yards receiving. And yeah, it was a big win for the Rams on a Thursday night. There were some really good plays in this game, but I am going to say the Stafford to Kupp touchdown in this game is iconic. If for those of you who forget, let me remind you, Stafford, he's in the pocket. He's got pressure coming at him every which way. And remember, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, this is like their first game back, right? And Stafford's under pressure. It looks like he's about to get sacked, but then he dances out of it, delivers a dart to Cooper Kupp in the end zone for the touchdown. And yes, that was my favorite play of this game. There was a lot of good plays from it. But yeah, put this at number 4, Stafford Kupp, as my top play from this game. All right, top 3. Again, these are so hard. These are so hard. I'm doing the overtime victory over the Seahawks. This game, oh man, this game was a tough one, right? This game, it was a grindy win. I'm really glad that the Rams got this win early to help them win in the division. Okay, let me start. My favorite play of this game was the Kam Kinchens 103-yard pick six. There's a bunch of other good plays, but I'm giving it that one. Kam Kinchens, the longest interception return for a touchdown in Rams history. It was such an important play. That's my favorite play of this game. Stafford had almost 300 yards. He had 298 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, the ground game was not necessarily going, but they found a way to win this game. They picked off Geno Smith, not 1, not 2, but 3 times to help seal this game and win it in overtime. So huge win, and ultimately got them to 500. And that was just such a huge win for the Rams. Even talking about it kind of makes me think, maybe I should have put this higher. But I'm sticking with my list here. Okay, at number 2, controversial maybe, but hear me out. The Rams win versus the 49ers in week 3, 27-24. Don't let recency bias taint what an important, epic game this was. For those of you who remember, the Rams were down 14-0 in this game. And they came back to win it just in the final closing minutes of the game, right? And I remember specifically I had a watch party for this game, and like the ESPN winnings percentage tracker, it was at like 90, I think like 97% the Niners would win. And then all of a sudden it jolts, and the Rams, they steal it from them. They steal it from them late in the game, save their season, a big division win early. And, that there was so much to say about this game. Kyron Williams, he had one of his best games of the year, 89 yards with 2 touchdowns. Loved it. I can't stress enough. Don't let recency bias attack you. This was a phenomenal game. There was a lot. The Rams were still super banged up, right? Like they were missing the majority of their O-line. There was no Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, right? Like there was so much that the Rams had to face in this game. But my favorite play from this game was the Xavier Smith punt return. And for those of you who forget, Xavier Smith, he's been with the Rams for a long time. He's been lighting up in the preseason, but he's been like with practice squad and stuff, but he's never really gotten an opportunity in a game. And here in this game, in his first NFL touch ever, he returns a punt, gets them into field goal range, which sets up the game-winning Joshua Party field goal. And it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. So thankful for it. And ultimately saved the Rams season, getting them their first win of the year. Again, go watch the highlights of this. When I first made my list, I think I had this listed at like 6 or 7. But after watching highlights and kind of going through my logic, this was a very entertaining game if you're a Rams fan. And the cardiac kids were definitely born in this game. And I put it here at number 2, and I stand by that. Number 1, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me, the Rams versus Bills in the 44-42 Classic. This game was on something else. Like it was just insane. It was insane. So many people came into this game being like, okay, Bills are going to crush the Rams. Yeah, and ultimately, a big reason why the Rams were able to win the NFC West with the strength of victory is because they won this game against the Bills, who are a good football team, and they have Josh Allen, who's potentially the MVP. Stafford, over 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams had 2 touchdowns on the ground and 87 yards rushing. Josh Allen, though, they faced the Frankenstein monster that is Josh Allen, where he had 342 yards passing and 3 touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns and 82 yards on the ground. And like, it was insane. Puka Nacua had 162 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. He was playing lights out. This game, go watch the highlights of this game. This is one of those, like, you had a bad day at work or at school or something. This game is therapy for a Rams fan. It was phenomenal. There's so many. I had a really hard time picking a favorite play on this one because there's so many good ones. But the favorite play I'm going to say for this one here is, I think a lot of you know, the Jake Hummel blocked punt, and Hunter Long scoops it up and runs it into the end zone, and boom! Hunter Long, who's a fan favorite on this channel, wins or gets to the end zone and gets a touchdown, which they needed. The Rams needed every single point to win this game. I know that happened earlier in the game, but man, it was a ride. I was going nuts for it. That's why I clipped out a reaction video to it. And yeah, so that I'm going to put this as my number one game just because you beat a really good opponent. And I know it's an AFC team, but when you beat a team like this, it gives your team hope of like, hey, like this is a statement win. Like the Rams are relevant. And even right now, like I hear a lot of people hating on the Rams going into the playoffs and stuff because, you know, they've won ugly the past couple of weeks. But if the Rams can play like they did against the Bills, man, this team's going to be hard to beat. Going to be hard to beat. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, 20 minutes of me just talking about the Rams season. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Feel free to like and subscribe if you love talking about the Rams or NFL and all that stuff. And yeah, we will see you in the next video. As always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams! Woo!
Thank you very much.